So who remembers Change UK, the group of breakaway MPs who got mad that the political parties in this country suddenly actually represented what their member bases wanted and didn't indeed represent a continual and tedious neoliberal centrism that not just the people in the parties don't want, but the country doesn't want, but businesses do want, and these people wanted and didn't want to see their position to be able to get a high-paying job in industry after their parliamentary political career ended. They also opposed those things that people wanted to, and they wanted to maintain the current status quo that nobody liked and brought us the Brexit that they hated. The Labour ones, most of these, are actually wanting to join back into the Labour Party, having left at Jeremy Corbyn being the party leader, and the positions that he took being things that these people didn't like. Mike Gapes has returned, Luciana Berger has returned. But they're not who we're focusing on today. Who we're focusing on today is the one on the left of your screen, Angela Smith. Now, she's an interesting character. She's probably most famous, really, at this point, for describing Ash Sarkar as having a funny tinge on Politics Live.
History of the party I've just left suggests that it's not just about being black or a funny, different.
And she's got quite a storied political career of what happened before she left to join Change UK. So if you bring up a Wikipedia page, if you look here, the main thing that you can see, and this is going to be relevant for later, is that she opposed the renationalisation of our water network, which, considering how much sewage there is currently in our waterways and in our rivers, turns out the funny tinge she was really talking about was the funny tinge that she was going to turn our waterways if she was in any position of power within our water industry. Again, keep that in mind for later. She was also subject to a vote of no confidence within her constituent Labour Party because she didn't actually was well liked by the people who she was supposed to be representing, mostly on grounds of her opposition to water renationalisation, and indeed her support of fracking, right? Which nobody likes, not even Tories like fracking, hence why they voted against it. There's very little support for fracking, but she's big in favour of it. I wonder why. Next, another good part of her career was her time as having to claim loads of expenses, having defended her vote of keeping details secret, that it would help member constituent confidentiality and help prevent private addresses of MPs being readily available to the public. More like she didn't want to be one of the people who had been found to be claiming a one-bedroom flat in London as part of the expenses scandal. Weird how she tried to cover that up. And also, she employed her own husband as a senior parliamentary assistant for £40,000 a year of taxpayers' money. That's double what I made when I was working in a call centre on taxpayers' dime. Which is good. Love the nepotism that's going on there. Love the definite and 100% useful way of using taxpayers' money on Angela Smith's husband to be employed as a spad. Good. Love it. Big fan. Now, not only did she leave for Change UK, which is very funny because a bunch of these people all ran at the next election and none of them won. In fact, loads of them came in like 4th or 5th, which is very funny. She then also moved over to the Liberal Democrats. Now, I don't know if anybody knows this, but in the Labour Party, if you run against the Labour Party, you're not allowed to be a member of the Labour Party, right? You get ejected from the party, which, reasonable position for them to take, which is why supporting those who also do that is another reason why you get ejected from the party. They've threatened to do that for anybody who supports Jeremy Corbyn's run as an independent. And as the independent group, people who supported them probably should have been kicked out of the party, but loads of them have been allowed back in. In fact, the current leadership have given special dispensation to people like Mike Gapes, Angela Smith and Luciana Berger so that they can rejoin even outside of those rules. It's almost like there's one rule for some people and another rule for other people depending on which faction of the party they're in. Weird how this kind of dynamic continually crops up over and over. But she also ran for the Lib Dems, so she's not run against the Labour Party once. She's done it multiple times and for different parties and continually campaigned against them when they actually represented their own members' interests. As you can see here, in 2019, she finished in 3rd with 11% of the vote for the Liberal Democrats, and apparently was being discriminated against because she would not receive the MP's loss of office payment as a consequence of changing constituencies if defeated, which is very, very, very funny. But that's her long and storied history of her relationship with the Labour Party. Which is interesting, because if you look at the very next chapter, as soon as she left the Labour Party and had stepped down as being an MP after being defeated in 2019, right, she joined Portsmouth Water, a private water company, as an independent non-executive director. Now it all makes sense. This is why she opposed renationalising the water industry. because she was wanting to use that as her vehicle for her to make money in her post-parliamentary career. How incredible. And now the current Labour Party does not at all support renationalisation of the water industry, and suddenly she's been let back in again. Don't you find that a little bit strange? Now, not only has she been let back in, not only has she been let back into the party, it's been reported by Tomorrow's MPs, which is run by Michael Crick, around who's going to be running in certain constituencies in the next election. Angela Smith, the previous MP for Penston and Stockbridge, is actually looking at running for St Austell and Newquay, which is a potentially winnable seat, considering the level to which the swing in the vote, given what's happened with the Conservative Party. Basically every seat is winnable now, and so suddenly she feels like she can stand for the Labour Party again. And they're happy to let her run too. She'll probably make the shortlist, which is weird, given how she has opposed the Labour Party from 2 different parties, again against the rulebook, given special dispensation to rejoin, and now is just allowed to potentially become another MP again. Weird how that happens, isn't it? Weird how, if you know the right people, if you believe the right things, the rules can get bent for you, right? Anyone wanting to join from like a working class background, which I know is a campaign's being run by a person called comes as Labour Beyond Cities on Twitter. We have some profound disagreements on policy and ideology, but one place that we really largely agree on is this need to have more working class, pink collar, blue collar people standing as MPs rather than spads, rather than people who have a political career, rather than people who have just been plucked out of industry and then inserted into roles. Friends of friends, partners of other MPs, cough, Wes Streeting, cough, right? But no, we can't have actual working class MPs anymore. All we get is people who have the connections. If you do have working class background, like Lauren Townsend in Milton Keynes, for example, you get taken off the shortlist, and you actually have the person standing in that seat being like called Chris Curtis, who literally works for a pollster. Right? Yes, friends of friends. So we're not allowed to have working class MPs. All we have is people who know people who know people. Even ones who have broken the Labour Party rulebook on who you stand for and who you campaign for on multiple different occasions. But just because she is currently in league with the current party ideology and the current party leadership, suddenly she's allowed back in with open arms. Incredible. But this is the current Labour Party. These are the kind of people they'll let in. People who will describe brown people as having a funny tinge, who literally work for private water companies, the same ones who are filling our rivers and our seas with effluent, right? And they allow back into this current Labour Party. This is why I won't vote for this party, and you shouldn't either. You should vote for a party with proper democracy. Vote for a party that doesn't create different rules for different groups of people within different factions. Maybe ones who don't have people who use their positions as parliamentary candidates to be able to get high-paying jobs in industries, let alone industries that cause huge amounts of environmental damage and are causing people to get sick for swimming in the water. So I'm not a fan of hers. I'm not a fan of the party. And look forward to her being an MP at the next election. Hey there, if you enjoyed the video, make sure that you like and leave a comment. That helps the video out in the algorithm. If you subscribe and ring the bell, it'll let you know when I go live. I stream every day on YouTube and Twitch. You can also follow all of my socials down in the description. And if you want to support me in a more financial manner, there's a join button for membership to just 99p to be a member on YouTube, as well as a Patreon, and there's some merch there as well. And hopefully I'll catch you on the next video. Take care.